Well, welcome to the 700 Club. While sporadic protests are swirling around the country, the president-elect, Donald Trump, is making his top priorities clear as he gets ready to become president. Cutting taxes, improving the health care system, and dealing with illegal immigration.
Well, Trump also signaled that he's standing firm on his positions on abortion and the Supreme Court, and he's named two of his key White House appointments. Gary Lane has the story.
Trump made the important announcement Sunday that Reince Priebus will become his chief of staff and Stephen Bannon senior counselor and top White House strategist. Priebus is the chairman of the Republican National Committee, a key Washington insider. By contrast, Bannon is an anti-establishment conservative, the former head of Breitbart News. Strange bedfellows? Trump released a statement saying, "Steve and Reince are highly qualified leaders who worked together on our campaign and led us to a historic victory. Now I will have them both with me in the White House as we work to make America great again." Also on Sunday, more anti-Trump protests. This time, immigrants rallied outside the Trump Tower. On 60 Minutes, Trump was asked about immigration and his pledge to deport those here illegally. He said first he'll focus on criminal illegals and then others.
After the border is secured and after everything gets normalized, we're going to make a determination on the people that you're talking about, who are terrific people. They're terrific people.
Trump had a word for the frightened protesters.
Don't be afraid. We are going to bring our country back.
And what about those committing acts of violence against minorities?
They're harassing Latinos, Muslims.
I am so saddened to hear that, and I say stop it if it helps. I will say this, and I'll say it right to the camera, stop it.
While Trump has indicated a willingness to talk about some changes to some of his campaign pledges, he's standing firm on judicial and Supreme Court appointments.
I'm pro-life. The judges will be pro-life.
Trump's campaign speeches were often interrupted with chants of "lock her up." Some rally attendees wanted Trump opponent Hillary Clinton jailed over her email and Clinton Foundation scandals. Trump pledged on the campaign trail to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate. But when asked about that, he said he wants to focus on his top priorities first.
I'm going to think about it. I feel that I want to focus on jobs. I want to focus on health care. I want to focus on the border and immigration and doing a really great immigration bill. We want to have a great immigration bill. And I want to focus on all of these other things that we've been talking about and get the country straightened away.
You called her crooked Hillary, said you wanted to get in jail. Your people in your audiences kept saying, lock him up.
Yeah. She did some bad things. I mean, she did some bad things. I know, but a special prosecutor? I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt them. They're good people.
The president-elect said he'll have a more definitive answer later. More announcements on some important cabinet positions could come later this week. Vice President-elect Mike Pence is now heading up the transition effort. He's covering job vetting and decisions affecting more than 4,000 executive branch positions. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Well, whether they like it or not, this election was a referendum on the 8 years of the Obama presidency. And the people didn't like the Obamacare. They didn't like what's happened to our foreign policy. They didn't like all the regulations that have been put in place, and they didn't like the stagnant growth. They just didn't like it. Americans are used to winning. And we've been told, well, this is the new normal, is to lose. And so whatever they wanted to say about this, that, and the other was caused by this. It was caused by the fact that the American people wanted a change. And they wanted a more robust domestic policy and a more robust foreign policy. But now, after losing a number of governor's seats, after losing a tremendous number of legislative seats, after losing the presidency, the Democrats are now trying to figure a plan for their future. So our Wendy Griffith went to find out. Wendy.
Thanks, Pat. Well, many Democrats are pushing for a serious change in the party's positions on its policies. They want grassroots organizing to focus more on their base and winning back those white working-class voters who went for Donald Trump.
We have to do a lot of rethinking. Democrats have focused too much with a liberal elite, which is raising incredible sums of money from wealthy people.
Now, Democrats have to choose a new leader of the party's national committee. One leading candidate is Muslim Congressman Keith Ellison of Minnesota. But others are looking to get into the race as well. Some liberals are pushing the party to move even more to the left as Bernie Sanders. Democrats lost the White House along with the House and Senate under President Obama, along with governorships and state legislatures. Well, more strong aftershocks in New Zealand after a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck the country Sunday. Tourists and residents in the area were stunned.
The earthquake last night was just so devastating and shocking. It knocked me out of bed. Things fell in the room that I was staying in. The hotel that I was staying in is now, condemned. I can't return.
The whole bed just sort of jumped out from the wall, and these doors just literally buckled and just opened and swayed back and forth, back and forth.
Wow, look at that. Officials say at least 2 people have died. The quake caused damage in the capital of Wellington, even generating a small tsunami. New Zealand is sending military helicopters and a Navy ship to rescue about 1,000 tourists and hundreds of residents that are stranded in one coastal town after the quake cut off train and vehicle access. Pat, such a beautiful island. I hate to see that happen there.
It is, Wendy, that's the so-called Ring of Fire. And once that thing, the Pacific plates meet with the various coastal plates, the North American plate, et cetera, you see that Ring of Fire, and New Zealand is right down at the bottom of it. So Indonesia and Japan, and then coming over to our coast, and then down to South America. And this is a very volatile seismic area. And once it starts moving, I dare say you'll find other earthquakes taking place, and it will be painful for people. I looked up at the sky last night, and the moon was so bright it was like the sun. And Wendy, tell us about it.
It is wonderful to see this. The brightest moon in almost 69 years, Pat, is lighting up the sky this week. It's called a supermoon, and you can get it. You can see it here in the video. It's 14% bigger and 30% brighter than a normal full moon. The reason, the moon's orbit is bringing it closer to Earth than any time since 1948. And in 18 years, it will be even closer, with the next supermoon occurring in 2034. And Pat, so you were out there taking a look at it last night.
I looked at it, but it was so bright I had a hard time. I wasn't wearing dark glasses, at 8 o'clock at night. But there that beauty was, and it's a gorgeous thing. The thing about it, we've got to remember, it's like God's provision. If that moon wasn't there, this planet we're on would be teetering back and forth all the time. That keeps us in a stable orbit and a stable rotation. And apparently, this planet was hit by Mars, I believe, or some similar planet, and the moon was ejected as a part of that mass. It formed its own planet, but it's God's plan to look after us on this Earth. This is a very special planet, and when you look up at that moon, you can thank God that it's there.